people we have to hold accountable for the prison system and how it is today, people normally think it's just the president, but it's really not. Each state is your own, you gotta look at it as your own state. It's almost like your own little country, right? So your governor is able to make certain laws that's gonna dictate how that state is gonna be ran. So people don't know this, but your elected officials in your state control more than anybody else. So your state, your local officials in your community, and then your state reps are the biggest people that are going to control these laws in the areas you live in. Why certain laws in the South are different from the North, different from the West, East, right? So it's kind of all about finding that state that has the progressive type of laws and seeing where you can be at. But it really shouldn't be like that, right? It should be a country, United States nation kind of mandate that everybody is getting the same fair treatment, no matter what prison system they might be in.
I do not stand behind the mass incarceration of Americans. The United States has the highest incarceration rate in the world. That's insane. Black and brown people are overrepresented in jails and prisons across the country. I don't know if it's because we're targeted or if we don't have adequate representation in the court system. I don't know what it is. But we are filling these jails and prisons. This mass incarceration is a huge issue in our country.
Personally, I've never stood behind mass incarceration. I don't still see the point in it. We don't rehabilitate any of these people that go behind bars. We don't put them in situations to avoid going down a deeper, darker path. We don't, mass incarceration does more, just cripples a lot of, especially races and very particular groups of people more than others. And then, just the way our justice system is even divided up. You have maximum security prisons, but then you have the extremes of club feds, where it's not even looked at as barely a prison for people that do fraud and more white collar crimes. And I think that's bull.
The biggest revelation I've had recently with the criminal justice system in America is that there are actually for-profit prisons. And I think when you truly think about that, it seems very strange. The fact that it's a business is almost backwards. There shouldn't be anyone making money off of housing criminals. That should be something that's protected by the government. It's purely for, controlling rules and regulations. But when you add money into it, that just opens up a whole different can of worms.
I get it. They committed a crime. I get it. They put themselves in a position now that they have to get locked up. Some of them, not everybody, because we're innocent until proven guilty, right? I get it. But realistically, once you send somebody to jail, you don't put them in a position where they feel like dirt. You don't put them in a position where they're lesser than your dog. You just don't. We're humans. All right, God didn't create us to be treated like crap.
I don't even want to get on the topic of race in the justice system. That's a whole nother conversation. But I just think the justice system is extremely flawed. Prisons should have never been privatized to begin with. It should have been a federally regulated system, or more federally regulated than it is, which it barely is. I'm saying there's some rules, but it varies state to state.
I don't think there's enough media coverage on the effects of COVID-19. I think we have enough coverage on the death tolls. I think we have enough coverage on those that have gotten sick, but I don't think that we have enough coverage or the numbers to really show how this has affected the prison system. We're talking about New York, hundreds of thousands are getting sick. Right up state, you got Rikers Island. What are the numbers? How does that contribute to what we've seen thus far? And I'm talking nationally at this point. I don't think that we're really taking into account the deaths that are covered or that are not covered in the prison systems.
I continue to see documentaries. One came on ABC about the jails, about people who are incarcerated, that the staff is getting popping positive for the coronavirus, but yet they're not giving the people incarcerated, the inmates, they're not getting any type of, disinfectant. They're not getting any hand sanitizer, Lysol, masks, gloves, nothing to try to prevent from getting the coronavirus as well. They are people as well. And here we are, we're outside for the people that's outside ready to turn up and have a good time, and people are still suffering.
Is justice being served, and are people being treated fairly?
That's the question of the day, right? I mean, I think it's really hard to say because you have to decide what's fair and what's not fair. And one thing that I've noticed just kind of reading up on the subject is that a lot of people are doing a lot of different things. And I think when you have this varying degree of responses to the situation, then necessarily some people aren't necessarily being treated fairly. And you've seen a lot of, or at least I've seen in news reports, a lot of people who are in for more white collar type of crimes that are being released from prison or allowed to serve some of their prison sentences at home confinement and things of that nature. And it makes me question whether people who are there for more blue collar, street level kind of crimes are getting the same kind of treatment.
Honestly, I didn't know much about the justice system until my aunt was incarcerated. I was told that not all correctional facilities have cells, and the inmates pretty much shower in the same place. Now, considering COVID-19, neither is that sanitary or does it include social distancing practices. Now, I'm just so thankful that my aunt isn't in prison anymore, but what about all the other people's family members? Inmates or moms, dads, aunts, uncles, grandparents. Imagine what they're going through.
I wanted to speak specifically on how a lot of individuals in jails and prisons have to pay for soap, toiletries, and other items. I think it's shameful that during a pandemic or any time that people are in jails or prisons have to pay for things that I believe should be provided to them. This has been very unfortunate because it's probably led to the spread of the coronavirus in jails and prisons, and I was definitely disappointed to hear that in, I believe it was Miami-Dade County, a lawsuit had to be filed just so individuals could have those type of things available. So we need to push our elected officials in the prison system to act and to provide those at no cost, especially during a pandemic.
I think it's important that the government protects those that are incarcerated. I feel like that is their job, to protect them. You give someone a sentence, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 10 year. You didn't give them a life sentence. So why are you not protecting them when there's something deadly that can kill them fast? You're not helping them. So I think that it's important for the government to see these people are under your care. You're responsible for them. These bodies are on your hands. Like, you are responsible for these families losing their loved ones because you didn't take the precautions needed that were stated by government officials, national, it was something that should have been done. And the fact that it's not being done in prison and you're not giving them the option to do that in prison, to me, that is something that is very, very, very important.